us right now are my guests. We have Mr. P.K. Jain, retired senior IPS officer. We also have with us Dr. Deepak Raheja, senior psychiatrist, director, Hope Care India. Good evening to both of you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for speaking with us here on Times Now. Mr. P.K. Jain, let me begin this discussion with you. You know, this case has shocked the entire country. The kind of gory details that have now come to the fore. Have you heard of a case like this before? What does this case really make you feel? What does it tell you about, you know, how it perhaps happened, what was done? You've dealt with many such cases in your career, but what does this case make you feel?
Hina, good evening. Thank you very much for having me here. See, these are the cases which are not new to the police. These are the crimes of passion. Maybe a person coming under the influence of another person, a ghori or a tantric, and then sacrificing their own child, children, husband, wife, and number of cases like this do keep coming our way during our service. So we become very stoic to this kind of a story or this kind of a case. We look at it from a purely professional point of view. You have a dead body, you have a case of maybe a very brutal murder. In this case, it was the husband. I have seen 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old being sacrificed for getting certain powers or money or affluence, etc. So we handle such cases with pure professional indifference, in the sense pure professional interest and indifference that it deserves, and arrest the accused, make a very watertight case, it goes to the court and gets convicted. And in such cases, more often than not, we obtain conviction. So I look at it from a purely professional point of view. What goes on in the person's mind, what he or she did, under whose influence, is all secondary. I mean, you make the other person also an accused in the matter, prosecute them too. So if it was a joint effort, both of them get convicted. If it is a one person's effort under the influence of another person, the other person gets lighter sentence. So it all depends on the type of case that we handle. But this is nothing new to the police. We do keep handling cases like this. May not be with the regularity, but fairly often.
Okay. Dr. Raheja, now, you know, autopsy has revealed savagery of killing. His heart was punctured, there were deep stab wounds, head was severed from the body. Some body parts after the murder were also taken to the house. That's what we are now getting to know. What does it really tell you about the mindset of, you know, such people who are involved here?
So obviously the mindset is extremely unstable. This is not a normal mind. I mean, the pictures that we see are very disturbing. Obviously, the kind of interactions that happened between them, the kind of resilience and strength that they were trying to give each other in terms of supporting the aberrant patterns of thinking. There's a French term for a shared psychotic disorder. It's called folie à deux, where one person is able to, by virtue of dominance, is able to convince and almost induct the other person into a similar pattern of thinking. So who's gotten to a larger influence to whom between Sahil and between Muskan will only be known by time, but the manner in which it was done, the way the body was savagely cut, the way he took the body parts to his home, the way they tried to get rid of it, the way they went for a holiday post that, and the very premeditated manner in which, you know, a knife was procured, how sleeping pills and tranquilizers were laced in food of Mr. Saurabh, shows a very calculated, manipulative, premeditated attempt to carry out a very heinous crime of passion. There is definitely an element of paranormal thinking here, tantra, sacrifice, you know, I mean, it's all very aberrant, where he claims that it could be partly possession, where he claims that he was communicating with his dead mother who died 18 years back, and Muskan by proxy account on Snapchat was communicating, giving messages. It's all very complicated yet very simple. The senior police officer was saying, these are not uncommon, thanks to social media, thanks to media, that they get the due attention that they do. So there is adequate learning for society, for people, and we don't ignore the gross telltale signs that are always there. It is not that these are very impromptu acts and it's like just the society becoming oblivious to what's happening next door, and it's only when something as tragic as this happens then we go on connecting the dots to say, oh, not just something was amiss, a lot of it was amiss. So I think we need to be privy, we need to stand up and understand that these things that are happening in neighborhood, we need to familiarize, we need to pick up signs, and an error of commission in reporting to authorities, in taking action is better than error of omission. So it's very sad and very tragic, but this is definitely, the undertone is a extreme passion of a crime of passion. Both seem to be in love, and again a very unstable relationship, because the man himself was not a high achiever. He's not very educated, he's not very
Dr. Raheja,
but what
these
goes
are
in
pertinent
those
points.
moments when you're...
Yes, Dr. Raheja, these are pertinent points you have raised, and why we are having this discussion today is because it's something that's happening in the society. The question is, why is it happening? Can something be done to perhaps, deal with the root cause here? Because a person has lost his life. His family today is devastated. In fact, the parents of the girl here, Muskan, the key accused here, are also saying that they expect nothing less than capital punishment for the daughter. The mother had an important message as well. Children should always share whatever is going on in their lives with their parents. So, is there something that one can take away from this case? Because the idea is to also, keep people informed about what is happening in the society, what is wrong, what is right, because what has happened here, it's inhuman, to say the least. I mean, it gives me chills to even think, can a human being do something like that to another human being? So was it perhaps under the influence of drugs, as being claimed by the family as well now?
So I think the red flags in the relationship were visible and evident for a long time. Whether it was Muskan's relationship with Saurabh or Muskan's relationship with Sahil, and the manner in which it was happening, I think it was also, I think Mr. Saurabh, who's no more and who's been slaughtered, was also privy to the relationship. For the fact that if the father could have that candid discussion where intuitively he possibly knew what had gone wrong, I think parents need to keep that communication going. The families need to keep that communication going. The neighbors need to be more privy and more vigilant. The society needs to pick up those red flags and those signs. And I repeat, an error of commission is better than error of omission. We don't want to get to become an isolated society. We don't want to deal with an epidemic where we say, if it's not happening in my house, why should I be nosy to
I think those are important points you have raised, Dr. Deepak Raheja and Mr. P.K. Jain. I'm completely out of time, but thank you very much, both of you gentlemen, for joining us here on this very important discussion on the story from Meerut that has clearly shocked the entire country with the kind of details that have now emerged. We will slip into a very short break, but more news and updates on the other side.